This is the 49 Carats Prospect Spotlight. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another edition of the 49 Carats Prospect Spotlight, where you get a chance to learn more about NFL draft hopefuls. I'm Steph Sanchez. With me today is TCU safety Mark Perry. Mark, how are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great, and I love to hear that you're good. Excited to have you on today. And so without further ado, let's just get right into it, right?
Good.
I want to start off asking you about, going from California, being the SoCal kid, and then, starting your collegiate career in Colorado out there in Boulder. As someone who also is from California, I'm from the Bay, moved to Colorado, been here for like 2 years now. It was an adjustment for me. So how
Yeah.
was that transition for you, just from an environment standpoint, being further from your family as well?
Yeah, it was most definitely different. For me, I really wanted to step out of my comfort zone, going to college. So Colorado allowed me to do that. And, I ultimately chose Colorado, obviously for football, but I also wanted to get away from home and, not be able to just drive home every weekend. So it was definitely a shock at first, just getting used to being away from home. But, I think it was something that I really needed. And, my whole time there, I was always dealing with, having to adapt to change and different things like that. So it was definitely a challenge, but I think it was definitely needed.
Yeah, and obviously there's reasons you felt Colorado was a right fit for you for the next level of your football career. After your 2021 season, which was a great season for you out there in Colorado, you decided to transfer to TCU. What was the deciding factor behind, making that decision, and why you felt at that time TCU was the right move for you?
Yeah, for me, I really wanted to win football games. Obviously we play the game to win games. And,
Mhm.
during my time at Colorado, unfortunately we weren't able to do that. And, I wanted to compete at the highest level with, play with some of the best players and best coaches. And so even though I had a good year that year, it was a tough decision, but ultimately I decided that, I wanted to make a change. I had been dealing with a lot of different coaching staffs there and coaching changes. So it wasn't really the same place that it was when I originally decided to go there. So, I ultimately decided that, that would probably be the best time for me to make a change, with my best foot forward. So, and then TCU came around. I thought it would be a good decision for me ultimately because after that year, after the 21 season, both of their safeties had graduated. They were bringing in a whole new coaching staff. Played in the Big 12 against OU, Texas. So I was going to be on a pretty big stage. And I knew they had a really good roster. I knew some of the guys over there already. So, everything just kind of aligned and I felt like it was a good fit. And then obviously in that first year, we were able to do all the things that we did. So, I have no regrets about it, but it was definitely a journey.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, like, you kind of took a risk with that move as well, right? Just being like a new system, new coaching staff, and all that. But it definitely paid off. When you look back at your time at TCU, like, what's something you're most proud of?
I mean, definitely that run we had last year, nobody seen it coming. Nobody really expected it. And, that's what made it so special. Just we were able to always play that underdog role. And, every week we went out there, somebody was trying to have a new reason of why we couldn't win or why we couldn't do something. So I think that really pushed us and motivated us. Obviously it didn't end the way we wanted it to, but, sometimes that happens in this game. Things aren't always going to go how you plan it. But, we just have to find a way to keep our heads down and keep pushing. So, but it was definitely something to be proud of.
Yeah, you guys definitely exceeded expectations. Was there any year in college where you felt like, the game just started to slow down for you, things started to click a little bit differently?
Yeah, I think that was really this year. 21 was a good season, but for me, my college career was honestly all over the place. Like my freshman year, I kind of was in more of like a cornerback nickel role. My sophomore year, I transitioned to more of a strong safety role. And then my junior year, that last year at Colorado, We had a defensive coordinator change, and then I also changed from strong safety to free safety. So that whole year I played free safety. And then once I transferred, I ended up going back to strong safety, but I was also in a different scheme. We played a 3-3-5 at TCU, so that was also kind of something to get used to. So I feel like every year I was kind of adapting to different things around me, but this year I was able to, stick with the same position and the same scheme that I was in for my second year. So I kind of was more comfortable with it going into this year and just knowing everything that was expected of me, different calls and checks and different things like that. So I think that it kind of allowed me this year to play a little more free and, be able to do some of the things I did. So,
Yeah, I mean, you've definitely shown a lot of versatility like throughout your career. Now as a safety, like when it comes to film study, what are some of the things you're looking for in your opponent? Because I mean, you kind of got to study the entire offense a little bit extra because you never know who's going to be in front of you to tackle at any given moment, right? So walk
mhm.
me through that process a little bit.
Yeah. So for me, like, and going to TCU honestly helped us a lot because my position coach, he always made sure we were prepared. Like we would always have different little handouts and watch extra film and stuff. But for me, I realized that it's a copycat league. So anything that you haven't, been successful against, you're going to see that until the day that you figure it out. So
Mhm.
if we would have a bad game, I would go back and watch that game and just kind of see the different things that we struggle with because you're going to see that the next week and the week after that if you don't, fix it. But ultimately, like, say we're about to play a team and, we know that they have a really good receiving corps, I'll kind of break down each receiver and I like to watch the film. We use Thundercloud, and it has like this filter that you could use that to where you can, filter it to where okay, I could see, every ball that he's caught this season. So I kind of like to do that and look for tendencies. So like were all the balls that he caught on the left coming from the left hash? Were they coming on
Mhm.
in breaking routes? Are they coming from this area of the field? What down and distance? Just trying to pick up on different keys so that I could try to stay, ahead of the sticks and be able to predict what's coming. So you kind of as a safety, you got to kind of process a lot of things quickly, but film study definitely helps because it's a copycat league. You're gonna keep seeing things until you stop it. So that's kind of the approach I take.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, you got to stay ready so you don't have to get ready, right? So,
Yeah.
um, there's so much that goes into being a good safety, and like in the modern NFL, you see all different types of body types at the position. You definitely have the size going for you. You're 6 feet, 215 pounds. What skill set of yours do you pride yourself most in?
Um, I definitely pride myself most in my versatility. I don't really think that there's anything that I can't do. Um, but one of the biggest things is definitely my speed. For me, like obviously I won't be at the combine, but once my pro day comes around, I think a lot of people will be surprised that, maybe whatever time I run, but the people that know me and, I know myself, like I won't be surprised at all because like I've known all along, like I didn't compete in collegiate track for no reason. So, I just like to hang my hat on that and use it to my advantage, throughout the game.
Yeah, and I'll definitely ask you about your pro day prep here in a bit because I'm really interested to learn more about that. But when I watch you, like I see good recognition. You're a factor in the run defense. You play well downhill, and also in your coverage skills. Like it seems like you never panic, and you're always looking to make a play on the ball. But I'm sure as a competitor, when you watch yourself, you're kind of looking at yourself with a bit of a more critical eye.
Yeah.
So what are some things like you kind of self-identified as areas you want to improve on?
Just finishing overall, whether it be, making the interception or completing the pass breakup. I think there's a couple plays on film where, I had perfect coverage, but it ends up being like a contested catch or something like that. So, and obviously I'm my biggest critic. Like it could be a 4 yard game, but I'm gonna still be like, I know I could have got that out. So like it's just different stuff like that. But, definitely hard on myself. And, you gotta be like, if anybody's gonna do it, you got to do it. So
Well, right now you definitely have the opportunity to work on those little things, and you're preparing for your pro day. What's an average day of training looking like for you right now?
Yeah, so it's been a grind. I'm out here in Frisco, Texas, working at Sports Academy. So been out here with a lot of guys, and the weeks are pretty long, but it's fun being out there to go out there and compete and just work on our craft together. So Mondays are more of like a speed day. Obviously working on the 40 starts, different things like that, acceleration, top end speed, and then Tuesday we transition, focus more on position work. So guys have different trainers and people that they're working with. Currently, I'm working with his name is we call him Flight. His handle is Flight Skills. He's a trainer out here in Texas, so I'm working with him right now. After Tuesday, Wednesday is more of a we hit the classroom, um, watch film of like our starts and like obviously football, different things like that. Thursday, back to position work or excuse me, speed work on Thursdays. And normally it'll be a different approach on Thursday. So on Monday, if we worked acceleration, Thursday we'll work more top end speed, back half of the 40. And then Friday is again more of a position focus. And throughout the whole week we're doing upper body and lower body lifts. So it just kind of alternates throughout the days.
Okay, yeah, and that's interesting because, like, I ask a lot of guys that question, and I don't think any of them have mentioned that they do like film study as part of their training throughout the week too. And I think like that can help because
Yeah.
then you come up with like a tailored plan of drills to work on and all that. So that's interesting.
you
I'm
know
glad you
that
mentioned that.
that and then on top of that, you're getting interviewed by all these teams, and if they pull up a play from week
Hmm.
week two, that you might not remember, you might need to at least remember the structure of your defense to be able to articulate those different things to them. So I like to go
That's
back and
big.
watch like plays from the season, like just randomly, just because that's just kind of who I am, who I've always been. Like I just go back and watch different things like, okay, what could I have done better here? Or what went
Right.
wrong for us here? Just to be able to articulate those things to other people, especially in these interviews, because the eye in the sky don't lie. So,
Yeah, I love that. I love that as part of like, the prep that you're doing. And Mark, I know you didn't get a combine invite, but like how are you using that to like light a fire, give you some extra juice for pro day?
man, you have no idea. I mean, I was irritated at first, but it is what it is. I mean, I can't go back and change anything, or I definitely don't regret anything I've done to this point. So, it wasn't meant for me to be there. The pro day is going to be just as big. Big 12's having a Big 12 wide pro day, still going to be
Right.
on NFL Network. Like every team's going to be there. So, it's not going to be any short of eyes or any short of exposure. So, um, I just take it as a blessing that I'm still in this position, combine, invite or not, regardless, I'm still blessed to be in this position. So,
Yeah, I mean, you can only control what you can control, right? So,
most
and
definitely.
that is all this training. Yeah, and about the Big 12 doing like, their own mini combine. How do you feel about that process? Because it's different than what they did in the past. I
Hmm.
assume it means more eyes will be on you because I'd expect like all 32 teams to be there, given that it's
Hmm.
such a large pool of schools. So how you feeling about that process?
I definitely, especially since I didn't get a combine invite, I'm really happy that they're doing it this year. Like you said, most definitely all 32 teams are going to be there. Like it's going to be a lot of prospects, and just being out there and being able to get that like competitive environment again. Like because if you were just back, if I say pro day was just back at TCU, like yeah, I'm still gonna go all out. I'm still gonna do what I do, but just being able to be around, some of these other guys and compete, that's at the end of the day, that's the name of the game. So, just being able to kind of get a sense of that, I think is big. So I'm hoping that they, think about doing this again in the future.
Oh yeah, I definitely think it's going to be a norm going forward, and I'd even say
Yeah.
like probably other conferences will move towards that model as well. But you did have the chance to participate at the Shrine Bowl, and that's huge for you, man. Like, how did it feel to get that invite?
That was big too. I thought about coming out last year, but I decided to stay another year in college to finish my degree and then obviously get another year's worth of tape. And Eric Galco, director of the Shrine Bowl, had called me like after the season and basically told me I got invited. And maybe like a day or two later, like I accepted it because it was going to be out here in Texas, wasn't too far from TCU, so it just felt like that's where I was supposed to be at. And the experience throughout the week was great. Was able to get in front of some of these scouts. Had about like 3-4 days of practice, and then a pretty good game. So I definitely think that process was huge for me, and just kind of getting some people to kind of see who I am, hear my name, and oh, okay, that's TCU safety, that's him. Like, so it was definitely a positive thing.
Yeah, and it seemed like you definitely made the most of the opportunity. Like I saw some of the clips of you winning one of your one-on-ones in practice. And so yeah, I'm sure it opened up a lot of eyes for those scouts. Were there any conversations with any teams that stood out to you while you were there?
Yeah, so while I was there, I interviewed with 26 teams. And some of the ones that stood out the most were probably the Saints. I met with them about 2 times. Definitely the Colts, the Texans, the Raiders, and I probably said that was like the top four that kind of stood out to me. Rather it be like meeting with them multiple times, or maybe like while I
Mhm.
was talking to them, it was multiple people from their team like asking me questions. So those are probably the top four that probably stuck out the most to me.
Okay, yeah. And just hypothetically speaking here, like if a team was interested in you or like they even drafted you, but they're like we kind of want to move you to linebacker, like what would be your reaction to that?
I mean, end of the day, I'm trying to play. Like that's my ultimate goal. I want to go out there and compete. Obviously I'm gonna be open to it because I mean I'm gonna do whatever the team needs me to do to win. Selfishly, I think I'm a safety. I think I could be a good safety in this league, but if the team needs me to play linebacker, that's what I'm gonna do. So
Yeah, I definitely think you could be a safety too. I'm just,
yeah, no,
just
I
wondering,
I
and
hear
you've
that I
shown
hear
the
that all the
versatility
time.
too. You've
Yeah,
shown the versatility, so it wouldn't surprise me if teams had just thought about it, right?
yeah, nah, most definitely, especially with obviously my size and speed. Like I know for sure that I'd be able to do it. But whatever the team need, where they need me at, that's what I'll do. So
And the 49ers drafted your former teammate, linebacker D Winters, in last year's draft.
mhm.
So I'm sure in studying him, like they've seen you as well. Have you gotten the chance to stay in touch with D and maybe
Yeah.
ask him or even any other former teammates for advice, like in this draft process?
Yeah, so I mean, I talked to D quite a bit, and it's funny that you say like while they were scouting D, they probably see me a lot because me and D, for some reason, have a lot of plays where we're in the same, like we're tackling somebody together. It's pretty funny, but um, yeah, I mean, I've asked him even when like he was back at TCU. I think it might have been during the bye week or something like that. He was just telling me like the difference from college to the pros, and like, you're gonna have to play special teams, and obviously you hear this stuff all the
Mhm.
time from
Yeah.
coaches and different people, but when it's coming from somebody that you used to play with, you have a different like attention to it. Like, okay, like you, of course I knew this already, but you're experiencing it, so I know for sure, like, okay, that's what it is. So he's been big and giving me advice. And then obviously we have a lot of guys that are playing for the Chargers right now, the Rams. Like last year's draft, we had quite a few people go all over. So I've been asking them about different things, and then like people I played with in high school and different things like that. So I've definitely had a really good support system, and people to answer any questions that I have.
Yeah, that's awesome, and I'm sure you wouldn't mind being back in California. Just saying.
Oh yeah, most
uh,
definitely. The crib.
um, and you also have a rather popular former teammate in CJ Stroud who went to Rancho Cucamonga High School with you.
Mhm.
Obviously, I'm sure the idea of like possibly playing against him would excite you, or even with him, right? Are there any other quarterbacks in the league that you look at and you're like, man, I really want to get a pick on him?
I mean, getting a pick on CJ, that would be, because I wouldn't let him hear the end of it.
Yeah, that'd be
it
nice.
it's fun. It's funny because if you would have seen how we were in practice in high school, like it was just always it was funny. But I was really looking forward to last year that I think it was the Peach Bowl there when they were playing Georgia. I thought they were about to win, and I was really excited about playing them. And then obviously their kicker missed the field goal. I was like, dang, but that would have been really fun to play him in college. But definitely CJ. Pat Mahomes. He's a great quarterback. I mean, there's great quarterbacks all over the NFL. So really, like, just getting takeaways, period, is like, it's a big deal. So
Yeah, that's definitely true. We got one question from the chat I wanted to get to. Jason asked, for anyone on defense, this is a big question. Do you wrap up? So tell us a little about your tackling and your technique there.
yeah, you know, I've I've had quite a few tackles over my career. I was looking at it earlier. I don't remember how many it was, but um, you know, you have to wrap up, and I know definitely in the league you have to wrap up because everybody's good. Week in and week out, you're gonna see elusive players. So, and tackling really is about technique and want to. Like you have to want to tackle to be able to make tackles.
Hmm.
So, definitely wrapping up is a key to that. And yeah,
All right. Well, here's my last question because I always end my interviews with this one. What is a team or a fan base getting with Mark Perry, both on and off the field?
on the field, they're getting a competitor. Somebody that's going to do whatever they need to do in order for the team to win. Somebody that's not selfish, somebody that's willing to do the work, um, not really worried about outside expectations, just trying to be the best version of myself I can, rather that be in year 1, 2, 3, like wherever it is, like my moment's going to come eventually. So, and then off the field, you get somebody that's respectful, that's, gonna do everything they can in whatever community they get drafted to. Is gonna always be held accountable, no off the field issues, anything like that. So, I just think you're getting somebody that's, about their business and is gonna represent the team and the fan base well.
Well, I love it, Mark, and definitely, in just this short interview, I definitely get the sense of that. And I mean, best of luck. These next few months, or yeah, next couple months, and beyond. I'm definitely going to be, checking in for the mini combine and
Yes,
seeing how
ma'am.
you do, rooting for you. And yeah, man, just best of luck.
Yes, ma'am. I appreciate it, and I'm thankful for being on here with you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate you coming on. I know it's a busy time in your schedule, so I definitely appreciate it big time. And for everyone that tuned in, make sure you like this video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you like content like this, because there will definitely be more prospect spotlights coming up. But for now, folks, have a good rest of your Friday. Peace.